all I could do was laugh. And I hope it has the same effect on you. But the title of the article is Auston Matthews made his choice, seemingly putting Trump ahead of the Leafs. Now, if you weren't aware, Auston Matthews, who plays for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the NHL, was a member of the winning gold medal team for the United States in the Olympics. On Sunday, they won in overtime against the 51st state. So this article came out yesterday. Now, I don't like rubbing in victories. I live here in America. I was cheering for the United States of America. You can call me a traitor. You can say whatever you want. I don't care. I was cheering for the U.S. I like the players in the U.S. I live here. I live in Florida. That's that. So I was cheering for the United States. So the article begins. One C clearly trumps the other for Auston Matthews, and because of that, a segment of Maple Leafs fans would celebrate today if the Leafs took away Matthews' captaincy and returned it to John Tavares. The ghost of Conn Smythe would surely applaud. Simultaneously being captain of the Leafs and the United States men's Olympic team was always going to be a tricky balancing act for Matthews, particularly at a time when U.S. President Donald Trump never tires of threatening Canada with becoming the 51st state. So right off the bat, you know, the dude is crazy because he thinks that that's actually going to happen. He thinks that Trump is going to annex Canada. I mean, there still could be some sort of economic union or something, but this is clearly Trump trolling dumb liberals. Okay. Matthews, it's abundantly clear, tumbled off the high wire. Yes, he succeeded as captain of the U.S., winning gold over Team Canada in a classic contest in Milan on Sunday. But he failed in every respect as captain of the Leafs, miserably. Now, imagine you are Auston Matthews. You've been playing for the Leafs for like 10 years now. And I know this is not political content. This is a little bit different, but just bear with me. He's been playing for the Leafs for like a decade. Leafs can't win. They get knocked out of the first round every year. Finally, Auston Matthews wins something of consequence. He finally wins the gold medal. This is on the world stage. Everybody's watching, and he is triumphant. And then you have a writer nobody has heard of for the Toronto Star say that he has failed as captain of the Leafs miserably. After helping the U.S. beat Canada on Sunday, that little thing that happened on Sunday, Matthews celebrated with his teammates and Kash Patel. Okay, you can see him getting more angry. Director of the FBI in the winning dressing room. The BAM, I don't know what that means. The BAM then partied on in the wee hours and continued celebrating at a Miami nightclub on Monday night. You can really tell when it's a boomer writing. You can just tell. All good. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for your approval. Thank you, journalist, for... Okay, Austin, you can go and have your fun at the nightclub. That's okay. But wait a minute. At that point, Matthews could have said, sorry, boys, but I've got to get back to work. Yes. As a, 30 years old? That's exactly how he would handle it, right? Well, boys, I'd like to have another beer, but I got to get to work early on time. I got to fly back to Toronto. I cannot wait to get back there. After playing 6 games in 11 days in Italy and then traveling back from Europe, being rested and ready to resume NHL activity Wednesday night might have set the example a captain would want to set. The Leafs, after all, are in serious danger of missing the playoffs. No, Damian Cox, they are going to miss the playoffs. Not in serious danger. They're not going to make the playoffs. Instead, the Arizona raised pivot chose to jump on a plane for Washington, D.C. to accept an invitation with his teammates to visit Trump at the White House on Tuesday. How dare he? The president calls him, and he has the gall to say, you know what, Mr. President, I'd love to come to the White House. Matthews went to a luncheon and posed for pictures with Trump, then skipped the dog and pony State of the Union address while the Kachuk brothers and others allowed their Olympic triumph to be turned into a political circus. There was no political circus. They welcomed them. He welcomed them into the speech, said congratulations, and they left. And I love how he says, I told you I actually couldn't stop laughing at the article. Matthews went to a luncheon and posed for pictures with Trump, and then skipped the dog and pony State of the Union address. The dog and pony State of the Union address. Like, he skipped that thing. The Kachuk brothers, well, of course they went, but Austin had the gravitas to say, I don't want to go to that. The team that wins the Stanley Cup every year accepts the White House invitation to go, Matthews told reporters on Wednesday morning after a whirlwind 72 hours without much sleep. So I think it's just something that you do because we are proud Americans. Matthews apparently is blissfully unaware many athletes and teams have declined invitations from the Trump administration. Yeah, so what he's saying is because a select few decided not to go, Auston Matthews should have followed suit because he's supposed to hate the president like we do, like we the journalists do or something. I don't know what that means. Well, because some people did it. Some people have skipped out on it. Some people have boycotted it. So why didn't he? Seems to be the opinion here. Matthews apparently is blissfully unaware. Many athletes and teams have declined invitations. Yeah, he's unaware. He doesn't care. Who would care? The entire U.S. women's hockey team, possibly insulted by the fact that Trump seemed to think putting their gold medal on the same level as the men's was a joke, said thanks, but no thanks. By the way, I hear that some people are apologizing for being in the dressing room and laughing, or I don't know, they were apologizing for something, for laughing at the joke. I mean, it wasn't really that offensive of a joke. He said, okay, guys, I'm inviting you. Now I got to invite the women too. You know that, right? Or else I'm going to be impeached. It was more a joke about like, they're going to get mad at me if I don't immediately include the women as well. Like I can't just invite you guys. It was a very unassuming joke. More to the point, for Leafs fans and Canadians, Matthews displayed a complete lack of understanding for the responsibilities, hockey and non-hockey, he accepted as the captain of English Canada's most famous NHL franchise. That is just such a Canadian thing to say. English Canada. Nobody says he has to. By the way, we always hear from Canada how Canada is united and America is divided. Yeah, you live in a country where one half speaks one language and the other half speaks another language. Now, it's not actually half, but they have to acknowledge everything is in two languages. It's literally a divided country. You can't even look at a package of Skittles without being reminded it's a divided country. Oh, did I miss a part here? No. Nobody says he has to give a thundering pro-Canada speech like Mark Carney did at Davos. But a new Angus Reid poll shows 68% of Canadians feel threatened by Trump and his government. And just last week, the U.S. president vowed to block the opening of the new Gordie Howe Bridge between Windsor and Detroit and demanded Canadian concessions. So Auston Matthews, an NHLer, is supposed to check the Angus Reid poll before he decides to go to the White House. I don't like to get political or get into that kind of stuff, he said. Wait, I missed the part. Matthews, however, preferred to exchange his immediate return to the Leafs for the opportunity to shake Trump's hand. When asked about his lack of sensitivity toward Canada, Matthews took the athlete's easy way out. I don't like to get political or get into that kind of stuff. He, however, preferred to exchange his immediate return to the Leafs for the opportunity to shake Trump's hand. So he's wrong here. An NHLer, a star hockey player, is given two opportunities. Okay, remember, Auston Matthews is probably apolitical. He does not have political beliefs. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but I had to guess he's not that political. Here are your options. Fly home to cold, depressing, dark Toronto, where you will have to wait an entire day before your next game, or 2 days. Or we can fly you first class to Washington, D.C., and you can meet the president. And you can be back in time for the next game. And you're puzzled that he took the latter? Unbelievable. We get it. You're a proud American, but not a proud Torontonian? Not even verbally supportive of the country that has given you the privilege of living and working here as a non-citizen for a decade? By the way, does this logic apply to the Elon Omars of the world? Probably not for this guy. So here is the rub. We get it. You're a proud American, but not a proud Torontonian? No. And this is what many fans, sports fans, not just Leafs fans, don't understand. They think that because someone plays in a certain city, that they begin to think of that city as home. Now, many do start to do that, especially ones that are with the same franchise for like 10, 15 years or whatever. But most pro athletes do not have really any affinity to the city they're playing in, and they shouldn't really. And so fans are always disappointed when they sign with another team. They demand a trade, because how could they? I thought they loved the city. I thought they loved our city. How can they just leave? Because they don't really care, and that's not really a bad thing. It's just this isn't their home. They're playing for a hockey team. They didn't choose the team. All he has to say, now we're back to the article. All he had to say was he understood the feelings of Canadians in those troubled times. He could have just skipped the White House nonsense, demonstrating much needed leadership and proof the Leafs were his top priority. But Matthews preferred to be feted by a president who dismisses the very idea of Canadian sovereignty. So once again, the Canadian journalists cannot understand that he's being trolled by the president. Trump is not going to invade Canada. I'm sorry to break this to you, or maybe you will be relieved to know that's not going to happen. He could have just skipped the White House nonsense. The guy is an American. Do you think he views it as nonsense? No, he views it as a trip to the White House, demonstrating much needed leadership and proof the Leafs were his top priority. No, his country is his top priority. Hockey players, American, Canadian, their hockey team comes usually third behind their family, their country. For some of them, their God. The hockey team is sort of it's their profession, but that's not like their whole life. For this, people will remember, as they will remember how Wayne Gretzky waffled when it mattered. The dude didn't say anything. The guy said, I've met presidents, I've met prime ministers, I love Canada, I love the United States. There is no more diplomatic answer Gretzky could have given, and they still hate him for it. Because he doesn't hate Trump like we do. He doesn't have TDS like we do. Remember, the Leafs took the captaincy away from Tavares to give it to Matthews. We know that as a local lad and proud Canadian, Tavares cherished the opportunity to wear the C for the Leafs. So He was stripped of his captaincy so Matthews could have it and not treasure it? Now it appears being captain of the team comes second to smiling for the cameras with a US president who has successfully taken steps to injure the same Canadian economy where Matthews earns his massive salary. So this is not the poor, stagnant Canadian economy is not because of the people running Canada for the last decade or more. No, it's because of Trump and the tariffs. Okay, but I don't want to get too into all that. Looking tired, going pointless, and taking a lazy third period penalty as the sloppy Leafs lost their post Olympic game 4-2 to Tampa Bay on Wednesday made the optics even worse. Of course, Matthews is free to be a proud American. His mother, a Mexican immigrant, once found a new life in America. She didn't even have to dodge ice bullets to stay. Yeah, maybe that's because she was a legal, as far as I know, immigrant. But it's also not too much to expect him to proudly represent the Leafs and be supportive of Canada. It's just not that hard. Matt Sundin always did it, even when leading his native Sweden to Olympic glory. But number 34 made his choice. We may well one day look back at this as the day when the Matthews era unofficially ended in Toronto. And I'm sure that day for Auston Matthews cannot come soon enough. Can you imagine having to live and work in a place like this filled with journalists like this?